Hey, what's going on everybody, and welcome back to the Whiskey Cove. And on today's episode, we look at the whiskeys and bourbons to be released in April. Run the video. Alrighty then folks, thank you so much for joining on another new and exciting episode here on the Whiskey Cove, where we will be looking at several offerings of whiskey that has been released in the month of April. Ones that are specialty releases, ones that are unique, and maybe an affordable one thrown in there for good measure too. On the last episode we talked a little bit about my whiskey barrel single release, and I have put a few more bottles on the Whiskey Cove's website. This was the first single barrel pick that I've ever done, and who knows if I'll do another one. This is an 8-year-old bourbon from Doc Swinson's, finished in a 27-year-old Armagnac cask, coming in around 122 proof. It is an absolute hitter, one that I'm very proud of. The bottle looks like that, and we also have this really cool Whiskey Cove Doc Swinson's sticker on the back there. So if you want to get one of these bottles, and it is so limited right now, go over to the Whiskey Cove's website and scan the QR code on the screen right now. And I thank you all for your support. Let's just delve headfirst into the bottles that have been released this month. So sometimes what you'll see is, yes, these bottles are coming out in April, but sometimes they'll maybe come out in a state a little earlier, or sometimes they'll take a little longer just to work their way through distribution. However, I want to give you the tools so you're armed when you go into the liquor store, so you know exactly what's coming out, you know exactly what to look for. With that being said, bottle number one is a new release from the New Riff Distillery. This is the Silver Grove Barrel Proof Bourbon 2026. Mash bill on this is going to be 65% corn, 30% rye, and then 5% malted barley. It's going to come in at a tender age of around 6 years old. A lot of what New Riff do kind of fall right in line with that 6-year age statement. They do some very good stuff at that age statement as well. The malted rye, the Balboa rye being some of my favorites. So the Silver Grove Barrel Proof Bourbon is going to be coming in at 58.2% ABV or 116.4 proof. It's not finished, and it's going to cost you around $60, which again is very affordable. It's kind of right in line with what I like to pay for like my everyday whiskey, so to speak. I don't like to pay more than $10 per year, and this falls smack in line at the top of that range. So part of New Riff Silver Grove series, this release ties into the expansion and community investment in Silver Grove, Kentucky. The 2026 edition marks a step forward with a full 6-year age statement, showing a maturation in the process. It stays true to their high rye, non-chill filtered barrel proof style, 65% corn, 30% rye, and then 5% malted barley. So that is quite a high rye bourbon. So you might get some more spicier notes, so that maybe more anise seed, maybe some more like rolled oat notes. That's kind of what you get with more of a high rye bourbon. Is this a bottle I'm going to be looking for? Probably not. I'm happy with the bottles in New Riff that I have, and I've really honed in on the Balboa rye and the malted rye as two of my favorites. But you never know. If I get the opportunity to try it at a bar, the price is affordable, I'm definitely going to delve in and try it. Because $60 in today's market, $60, and again, you know, everybody has their own budgets, but $60 isn't the most amount of money you'll pay for whiskey, right? Because there's so much more expensive bottles than that. Next up, we have a new release from the Penelope Distillery, and Penelope are bringing American light whiskey aged 18 years old out in the month of April. The price on this is going to be $100 to $120. So if we're talking really about paying $10 for 1 year of whiskey, this is going to be 18 years, so that equates to $180, but yet they're charging $100 to $120. So by my barometer, by my metric, that's almost a little above half of what I'd like to pay, which is pretty good value for money in my opinion. As it is a light whiskey, this is going to be 99% corn, 1% malted barley. So originally light whiskey was kind of developed about 25, 30 years ago when there was a big emphasis on clear spirits, rum, tequila, vodka, and we're talking tequila blanco, where people drink a lot of that stuff. So the whiskey market wanted to come up with something that would really combat some of that stuff, and that's why they brought light whiskey. It's a little lighter on the kind of the style and the palate and how it looks, but when you drink it, it is full of flavor there too. And this is going to be 18 years old, as the name would suggest, and it is also coming in at Hazmat 2, 70.1% ABV or 140.2 proof. So not only you get an 18-year-old American light whiskey, but you're also getting a hazmat bottle. And a lot of the light whiskies do seem to distill out quite high. You often see a light whiskey coming in at hazmat, and I think that's just got a lot to do with the distillation process. A little background, Penelope sources ultra-aged light whiskey, often from Indiana, showcasing a category distilled at a very high proof and aged in used barrels. This allows the whiskeys to retain the sweetness and develop dessert-like flavors over time. At 140.2 proof, it's true hazmat, released aimed at enthusiasts. So I think that was a really interesting statement. The first line, Penelope sources ultra-aged light whiskey, often from Indiana. So they don't really source it in the sense, because they source it from MGP, right? But Penelope's owned by MGP, so they don't really source it. So they're not like looking out there and going to different distilleries and trying different whiskeys to find the exact one they want. Well, you know, they already have the exact one that they want because it's owned by the same company. But again, if I see this bottle, I'll probably buy it. I'm not head over heels when it comes to light whiskey, truth be told, and I'm not really head over heels when it comes to hazmat stuff. I think enjoy the whiskey at the ABV and proof point that you like, but me personally, I think there's a little bit of bravado attached to hazmat whiskey. I feel like, yes, you do get a decent amount of flavor, but I think that can be sometimes lost with the ABV and the proof and the burn. And the experience for me, as someone who likes to sit more at like the 55% ABV, 50% ABV proof point or ABV point, it can sometimes get lost to me. Would I buy it? Yes, because I really want to see how that 18-year age statement comes up with that hazmat. I think there will be an interesting combination there too. I'm kind of sticking with MGP a little bit here, and that is because they are bringing back Remus Master Distillers Experimental Series, and this is going to be Experimental Series 2. So when I said coming back to kind of MGP, so this is from Ross & Squib. Ross & Squib is owned by MGP. Ross & Squib is MGP's in-house name for the company that owns the in-house brands. So now Penelope is a distillery that they bought, where Ross & Squib is like their own in-house brand that puts out their own stuff. The price on this is going to be $70, so pretty affordable. The mash bill on this is going to be the wheat whiskey mash bill, and I wasn't able to hone in on exactly what that is. Age statement is going to be around 6 years old, and the proof point is going to be 56.5% ABV or 113 proof. So all in all, the experimental series, from what I was told, was pretty solid for the price point. And again, they didn't really put the price point up on this, $70. And you know, you're gonna get whiskey from MGP, so you know that it's gonna be pretty well balanced. You know that it's gonna be very well done. They know what they're doing when it comes to distilling whiskey. So I think for $70 for a wheat whiskey from MGP, their experimental series, I think this is gonna be pretty good. Again, I can't commit to that because I don't know until I try it, but I would love to get this bottle. As a bit of a wheat whiskey fan, and this is an experimental line for them, I want to see what they can do with this wheat whiskey. This series from Ross & Squib, MGP's in-house brand, serves as a creative outlet for the experimental releases. Each edition is unique and not meant to be repeated, focusing on new mash bills or techniques. Number 2 shifts the wheat whiskey, offering a softer, sweeter profile compared to Remus's usually high rye bourbon. So if you're someone who maybe tried some of the high rye bourbons, can come across as a little bit cinnamon forward, kind of like a red hot candy forward. Often a little bit similar to maybe some of the stuff, some of the flavors you'll get from a Stag Junior, so to speak, but just toned down and muted a little bit. And again, this bottle isn't going to be repeated for $70 for something that isn't going to be repeated. I think that's worth my money there. Next up, and we have a new release from Lux Row, and that is because it is that time of year where they bring back Blood Oath for another edition. This is going to be Blood Oath Batch 12. Price on this is $120. Again, that price kind of keeps rolling up and rolling up and rolling up, but hey, it is what it is, right? Age is non-stated, mash bill is non-age stated. The ABV is the same that is every year with Blood Oath, 49.3% ABV or 98.6 proof. So they always do a very unique finishing in Blood Oath every year. They've done Oloroso, they've done tequila, they've done French oak, they've done cognac, they've done a bunch of stuff. This year, they finished it in 2 wine casks, and I'm going to try my best to get this pronunciation correct. So the first one is the Montepulciano, and the second is the Sangiovese wine casks. So, the Blood Oath series is an annual limited release known for blending bourbons and finishing them in unique casks. Each pact is only one time ever, never repeated. Pact 12 uses Italian wine casks, the Monte Pulvicano and the Sangiovese. There you go. If you add a bit of Italian accent or flair to it, it rolls off a little easier. So these are both red wine varieties known for rich, dark fruit, tannins, and acidity, which can impart notes of cherry, plum, and subtle dryness to the bourbon, adding a wine-forward complexity. So I like this finish. And I tell you why. Because the last few years have been kind of a little bit boring. Tequila, Oloroso. Blood Oath was always known as someone to kind of go outside the box a little bit, and I think they're bringing that back here with this release. I've never heard whiskey finished in these two different wine casks, and I really like those notes of cherry, plum, and a subtle dryness from the wine tannins here in this whiskey. So I'm excited by this. I'm not excited by the $120 price tag. I'm also not excited to see them marked up in whiskey stores to like $150. So for that point, if I see it for $120, I'll buy it. I'm not going to chase it. If it falls in my lap, I'll definitely get it. What are you going to be expecting to pay for this at a bar? I guess at $120 price point at MSRP, you're probably going to be paying like $25 a pour, sadly. Would I pay that for at a bar? If it was my local and I wanted to support them, they had it, then probably. But any old bar, probably not. I would just hope that it falls in my lap for $120. Those are the Blood Oath Pact 12. And then lastly, we have the Heaven Hill Heritage Collection, the 22-year bourbon, the 2026 release. So the MSRP on this is much like a lot of this other stuff that I'm pointing behind me because I have like the 19 and the 18. This is going to be coming in around $300 to around $330. Depends on what state and where you're going to be getting it from. The mash bill is going to be 78% corn, 10% rye, and then 12% malt barley. Much like the name would suggest, this is going to be coming out 22 years old. So, you know, Heaven Hill have been bringing out an extra year every year. I have the 18 and 19, they brought out the 17 and then the 20. So they've just been going up and up and up and up. Who knows where will it stop? Maybe when the fun stops, right? So this is going to be coming in at a high ABV and proof like they always do. 68.5% ABV or 137 proof. Would I get it for MSRP only? I'm trying to remember if I paid over $300 this year. I only like to pay over $300 for a bottle of whiskey once. I got pretty close to it this year because I bought the Old Forester birthday bourbon, which I'm very happy and humbled to get. But I think I paid around $250 for that. So I still have that $300 bottle in my back pocket. What will I spend it on? I'm not sure if I'll spend it on this one. I think there are better bottles that I'll generally hopefully see. However, if it's getting a little later or past summertime, maybe I will take, or maybe I'll pull the trigger on it. So a little bit about this bottle and the collection is that the Heritage Collection showcases some of Heaven Hill's oldest and most prized barrels. This 2022 release is among the oldest barrel-proof bourbons they've ever released. It highlights the distillery's deep aging inventory and pushes both proof and oak intensity to extreme levels. So it sounds like a really great bottle of whiskey, right? High ABV, high proof, high age. It's Heaven Hill. You know what you're going to get. You know what flavors to expect. You know it's going to be good. But you just have to figure out if you want to pay $300 to around $330 for bourbon. And with that being said, that is all we have for today's video. Thank you so much for joining us. Hopefully now you have the knowledge to go to different whiskey stores and maybe be able to find some of these bottles. And also, don't forget, don't delay on picking up some of these bottles. We only have a small amount left. The QR code is on the screen right now. It's a beautiful bottle, 8-year bourbon finishing a 27-year-old Armagnac cask. My first pick. So if you want to support me, support the projects that I do. But if you want to support in a different way, we also have some fantastic whiskey glasses that if you do scan that QR code on the screen, it'll take you over to the Whiskey Cove shop and you can take a little look through them there. With that being said, thank you so much for joining us here today as we drink through the world's whiskeys one glass at a time. Cheers.